So once you have put the patient on ventilator, you have adequately ventilated the patient, then comes how to maintain. Most of the time, initially for severe ARDS patient, we tend to sedate the patient, and if needed, we paralyze them till they become stable. Once they get stabilized, we put them, change the mode of sedation. We stop sedation every day, and this ABCD protocol, ABCD protocol is an approach to follow daily patient. So what is this ABCD protocol? That is the first step. It's a mode to ventilate the patient, to monitor the patient, and to wean the patient. The rule is that the moment you put somebody on ventilation, you start also weaning them. So initially, once you have sedated, paralyzed the patient, the moment you see patient pathophysiology started reversing, you at least stop the paralysis. You try to awaken the patient. If patient is having pain, you can continue with fentanyl infusion, but try to assess frequently that he is awake. So he should be awake. He should be following your command. Once that is achieved, you try to reduce the ventilator support from control to pressure support. You try to reduce your oxygen from 100 to at least 40%. You try to reduce your peak to basics of 5 or 6. So once you have reduced that, you have support, pressure support, on support, your patient is able to ventilate well on a support of 12 or 15 and a peak of 5 and 40%. Once your patient becomes comfortable, awake, and alert, he is able to cough and follow your command. That is the time when you try to wean the patient. Once to do that, you break the sedation daily, you break the paralysis daily. If you are on continuous infusion, you awaken the patient and try to assess if you can breathe spontaneously. Because once you give trial, then you come to know that your patient is able to breathe or not. If patient is not awakening, not breathing, not coordinating, then you can again sedate and paralyze. If patient is fighting or you think condition is worsening, at the moment patient wakes up, his saturation start dropping. That is the time when you can continue with patient sedation and paralysis. Otherwise, the rule is once you have stabilized the patient, once patient is sedated and paralyzed, you give a daily morning break, observe the patient. Once he's awake, alert, assess him, assess his delirium, assess his irritability, assess his coordination, try to mobilize him, try to make him sit. Early mobilization is one other thing. This is coming big way to even on ventilator to wean them off early and to free them off from ventilator. So once you have achieved this parameter, you go for the see this. Why slide is not moving? Slide is not moving. Yeah, it will move. It will move now. Okay. No. It will move very fast. Okay, fine. So once you have this slide has got some. Okay. So so what we do in ICU patient, we assess for sedation and delirium daily. We give them a daily spontaneous breathing trial. If they pass, we put them on TPs or a lower support or pressure support around 6 or 8 of pressure support, a peak of 4 or 5. With that kind of support, if they are able to breathe 30 minutes, they are hemodynamically stable, there is no tachypnea, no tachycardia, no hypoxemia. They remain alert and conscious. If they that pass, in 30 minutes only, most of the patients will tell you they can be extubated or not. We prepare them to extubate. For extubation, you have to remember in routine patient, there can be a chance always that there can be air edema because of the tube. So before you deflate the cuff and ask the patient to cough. If you can cough well, there is a likely, and if cough is leaking, it's unlikely there will be edema. Otherwise, most of the time, post extubation, some of the time airway edema can lead to reintubation. So if he is alert, conscious, can cough, deflate the tube and extubate the patient. Post extubation, you ask the patient to cough and take name. Many times there is a hoarseness and not able to be. And if you find your patient is borderline, nowadays we either give them NIV or HFNC depending upon the availability to avoid the post extubation failure, even routinely. In a high risk patient or patient who has been ventilated for more than a couple of days, like 3 or 4 days, it's always safer to give 24 hours of the NIV HFNC to avoid the reintubation. If patients do not tolerate spontaneous breathing trial, we keep the patient comfortable. We let them breathe comfortably for next 24-hour trial. Try to find the cause of failure. Most common cause of failure is LV dysfunction, fluid overload, or not resolving pathophysiology. We try to address that issue. If that issue is addressed, we try next. One different thing which we do for COPD patients, once they are intubated, because they are difficult to extubate and wean, we ventilate them comfortably. We try to normalize their pH. We do not target CO2, we target pH. Bring the pH around 7.35. For 48 hours, we give them time. Once patient has been intubated, we have achieved the target, patient is stabilized. We keep them awake and make them comfortable. We do not give a spontaneous breathing trial in this patient. On ventilation, for 72 hours, we ventilate them comfortably and we make them awake. Once they are awake, they are able to follow the command. Directly from control mode, we extubate and put them on an IV. 60 to 70% of the COPD patients get extubated by this technique. So, because once you try to give them an IV mode, they are likely they will get fatigued and they will not be able to wean them and they will get prolonged ventilation. So there's a little bit difference we tie for the COPD. In COVID patient, when you are extubating, you have to make sure that you have fully done yourself, PP is on, you are fully protected, preferably a negative pressure room. You are on backside of patient. Nowadays, even for extubation, people are trying that acrylic box and extubating in them. Some of them are trying to even have a mask over face, extubate and put the mask immediately. It's just again to add. You don't ask them to cough after extubation, which you routinely do that. And that's why immediately after extubation, you put the patient on mask. Because each time COVID patient cough, it will spread more of the secretion to environment. Every time patient fails spontaneous breathing trial was stable, we try to assess. And again, echo and ultrasound is the most important tool to assess the patient for not able to extubate and not able to wean out this patient. Some of the parameters which you have to remember is the ABG, is the CBC, is the hemodynamics, cardiac function, secondary infection, is a common cause which not allow you to wean the patient. There are other unusual cause also, but that apply for the patient who get intubated and remain ventilated for a longer time. That's again a purview of expertise. I'm not going to discuss here.